Welcome to Maximizing Efficiency with Dex. Once again, I'm joined by Paul Lodder, and today we're going to be talking about the biggest pain in every accountant's head, the completeness of records. And what we mean by that is getting the information that you need from your clients in order for you to report on it, in order for you to do the necessary tax filings, and just keep everything up to date and in one place. So, Paul, I'm going to hand over to you in terms of one quick way that Dex can ensure that we can communicate with our clients efficiently to ensure we have the most up-to-date records with all of the correct documents there attached.
Perfect. Thank you, Max. What I will do is share my screen. And what we can see here is the client view within Dex Prepare. And there's just two areas that I want to focus on: missing paperwork and request paperwork. Now, what I've seen in the past is when there's missing paperwork, the team will type everything out in an email, they'll send it to the client, and a lot of time can be spent just replicating all of the information off a bank statement, which can be fully automated by using the functionality within Dext itself. First one I'm going to look at is request paperwork. Now, request paperwork is looking at any transaction on the bank statement, on the bank feed that has not yet been processed. So these transactions are not yet reflected within the accounting records. And if we just click on this one here, what we can see is two transactions here. I can select both of those transactions. I can select the recipient, who will be one of the users of this client. I can add any notes and I can send it straight across to my client. Or I can export and add it to a separate email if I need to. You can export it as a CSV or a PDF. Now, what you'll see with this functionality is it will pick up all transactions that have not yet been processed. So it will pick up things like bank charges, bank interest, nominal ledger payments, where there won't be any supporting paperwork, in which case you can just untick those items to ensure that they are not sent across to the client, and you can deal with those transactions in the normal manner, either as a spend money or receive money transaction directly to the nominal ledger code. Now, the other functionality we have is missing paperwork, and missing paperwork is actually looking at all of those transactions. They've already been processed, they've already been reflected in the nominal ledger, but these are transactions that don't have any supporting image attached to them. And this is more of a control check and can be very, very useful because you want to make sure that you do have supporting paperwork. Some of these transactions may have been processed automatically directly to a particular category, but from a risk perspective, making sure, particularly if there's been VAT reclaimed, there may be some transactions that you didn't want to hold up the reconciliation process. You wanted to make sure that everything had been reflected because you know what the transaction relates to. But for comfort, you would like that supporting paperwork. Again, this is where you can select those items, pick and choose, put in your date range, any amounts as well. You may have a de minimis, which is important from a control check point of view. And then you can export that, add it to an email and send it to your client. So those are two areas that are existing functionality within Dex that many of you may already be using. But there is a new area of that we have recently released to really help that communication between yourself and your client. I'm going to hand over to Max to cover this.
Perfect. So this feature is probably the best thing that you didn't realize that you needed, and that is Dextension. And we're going to be covering a lot on this in future weeks, so do stay tuned. And I'm just going to tap into one of the many features that Dextension offers. So if you are a QuickBooks or a Xero user, Dextension basically enhances your experience across the board. So in this case, we're going to be jumping into that reconcile screen within Xero, and a couple of things that I'm going to mention to start with. So when the transactions load up, what you would usually do is, as a team are going through, they're doing their bookkeeping, they'll go into that discuss tab within the transaction, and they'll type in something in there. With Dextension, if you want to pre-populate a suggestion, if you just click a full stop in there, a full list of pre-populated suggestions can go in there, so you don't have to keep on saying, we need the invoice for this. You can just go into there, click it, and you're ready to send that query across to clients. So it just speeds up that typing process. Okay, so we've got all of our transactions without documents. We have put in a little comment into the discuss tab around what they are and what we need from them. And what you'll see right at the top of the page is a new button that you won't have seen, and that is available if you are using the Dextension add-on within your browser. If you select that request paperwork button, here comes a lovely little Dextension add-on where you can go in and select which transactions you want to request paperwork for. Again, like Paul said, if there's payroll on there, bank charges, and you want to tick them off, you can do. And on the right-hand side, what you'll see is a population of all of your the users within Dex, and you can request paperwork from them. You can customize your email so it's in your tone of voice. You can add more information on there, less information, or however you want to. You can then connect it either to a Gmail or an Outlook account, which is really handy. And you can then either send via email or send through our mobile apps so they get a notification within their mobile app. Or alternatively, you can download as a CSV and you can put into your own body of your own email there as well. As we know, a lot of people will have, customizations within their own email functions. They might track all of their emails within a document management system. So it's really good to be able to link this request directly to your email address as opposed to it coming from Dex themselves. So really great feature, saving you loads of time. You don't have to move between two pieces of software. You can do all of your paperwork requests directly within what looks like Xero, just with a little bit of sparkle added on top. So that is Dextension. And I would say stay tuned for mine and Paul's next few videos as we're going to be exploring what else Dextension enhances to your Xero and your QuickBooks experience. And yeah, thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.